Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday, December 14th. It was cold yesterday. Spent the whole day. I thought I was inside for this event, but we were undercover with two little propane heaters, and it was bad. It was a good event. I did well, but it was cold as hell. We were in a valley, and it was bright sunny everywhere but where we were at, and it was like freezing down there, literally. So it was not fun, and it was way too long. It was the first time that he did it. It's a guy that I know that sells honey. He's the one that put the event on. It went from 11 a.m. to 7, which is 8 hours or how many hours? That's way too long. It should only be half that. But it was a good event. He got a lot of things right. So it was one of the better events I did this year, if not the best one, I would say, as far as like reasons for people to come down there. They had 3 custom-made Christmas trees that they decorated. I have a little video I'll play on Facebook. I recorded. Hold on. Who do we got in the chat? Sorry, guys. Magooch, good morning. Sweet Tea, good morning. Glad you're on today. I'm struggling this last hour at work. Uh-oh. You're pulling an all-nighter, huh? Adam, good morning. And See No Evil, good morning. Stephen Mornello, good morning. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Wow. Must be going through menopause. I got hot flashes all of a sudden. Yeah, where's my video at from Facebook? Let's see here. If anybody is looking for a custom-made Christmas tree, I am down at the McMillan Brew House in Puyallup, and there are 3 really awesome custom decorated Christmas trees, and there is going to be a raffle for them. And so you can come down here and buy a raffle tickets and put them in these boxes here to win the different Christmas trees. And not only do they do those Christmas trees for a raffle, like that Seahawks one, it comes with I think $100 gift card to the Seahawks store, and you get like some other stuff that goes with it. And then they also had like 4 different vacation packages. So you buy the raffle tickets and you can put it in any box you want. So they had like, I don't know, like McMiniman's hotel with the gift certificate to a spa type of thing. So people, I mean, I don't know how much they spent for those prizes, but there were people filling out tickets the entire 8 hours we were there. I think you could buy, I bought $10 worth, and I seen people buy, I mean, they must have made thousands of dollars on that raffle. So, and the tickets are, where's the price for the ticket? Okay, the raffle tickets are 1 for $1, 16 for 10, or 40 for 20. I got mine. He's got his, and so you have a chance to win one of these beautiful trees. Wow. And then we have all kinds of, there's free face, or excuse me, it's not free, but there's face painting here. I think she said $8, $13, and $18 packages for the face painting. We have this guy from Area 253 Glass Blowing, which is on Pacific Avenue, Tacoma. That's the guy that we've just seen that had the raffle tickets. He has got some beautiful work here. It's all custom. You have to order, special order, but look at these Christmas ornaments. High-end glass work here. And then I am set up over here. You know, we've got
jelly nougat, the Dubai bars, almond roca bark, candies in a jar, dark chocolate pecan turtles, chocolate strawberries, hot cocoa bombs, caramel apples. There's freeze-dried candy. There's some woodwork over here. Christmas decorations. I see shortbread and marshmallow pies and honey, ginger honey.
And then they had the face painting lady in another barn, and then they had another heated room. I don't know how those guys got so lucky, but there was like 5 vendors in another room. And then they had the only thing as far as the food sucked. The food was, well, the food truck said, "Good morning, Tommy. How are you?" That was gay afangu, raw honey, and tremendous scare. Raw honey is a tremendous scare and skin healing remedy. Oh, it must be skin. Tremendous. Yeah, skin healing remedy. Yes, it is. But the food it was a ham. It said hamburgers and hot dogs on it on the food truck. But the only thing they brought was bratwurst with sauerkraut, some type of fucking sausage or some fucking. Who the fuck eats sauerkraut? And then a pretzel with cheese. That's it. That's all they had in the food truck. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then there was one other little miniature food truck that had cheesecakes and coffee that they were selling from a Keurig machine, which is the slowest Keurig machine I ever seen in my life. But it was a lifesaver because I ordered 2 coffees. And this video is before the event started. It actually got packed. And another thing that guy did right too is he brought in 2 or 3 different sets of performers. There was like a high school choir that came in and sang, and that brought in a lot of people, and I made a bunch of sales. Then there was these old ladies who they're called like the geriatric jinglers or something like that. I don't think it was geriatric, but it was the something jinglers. And they had these really cool bells. They came by and they let me ring a couple of them. They're high-end bells. And then as soon as I started to shake it too hard, they took it away from me. So yes, how was your vacation, Tommy? Where'd you go? Cape May? Let's see. See if we can find some Tommy videos real quick. See. Videos. Okay. Just chilling. What's going down? How you doing? All right. Let's see here. Let's see what Tommy was up to.
Congress Hall, Christmas time, 2025, Cape May, New Jersey.
Nice.
Beautiful. Christmas tree in the middle. Everything is lit up. Looks great. It's like a winter wonderland. Outside bar. This is called the Brown Room. Guests go up there.
The Great Fire of 1878. Wasn't that in Chicago though? That's how my brain works. The Great Fire of 1878. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Thought that was Chicago. There were several major fires in the 1870s, so the Great Fire of 1878 isn't tied to just one universally known event the way Chicago 1871 or Peshtigo 1871 are. Cape May. Sorry, I can't see the chat right now. I'll look at it in a sec. Cape May, New Jersey, 1878. What happened? August 31st. Likely started in the laundry room of a hotel. Accounts vary. Then spread rapidly. Why did it spread so fast? Strong coastal winds, wood frame buildings packed closely together, limited firefighting resources at the time. Cost about 30 acres of Cape May's resort district destroyed. 30 major hotels, boarding houses, and hundreds of smaller buildings burned. Millions of dollars in losses. Remarkably low death toll. Most people escaped. It reshaped Cape May permanently. The town rebuilt with brick and fire-resistant materials. Sparked the boom of Victorian architecture Cape May is famous for today. Led to better fire codes and urban planning, and cemented Cape May's identity as a luxury seaside resort rather than a rough wooden beach town. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Let's see here. It's cool weather, food, Osada. Yeah, I guess, right? Yeah. I just wish they would have had more options. They should at least had a burger, or pizza truck, or something. A pizza truck would have been nice. If you want to buy a good coffee machine, here's the link. Okay. I'll check it out. Tommy, did the dog survive the excessive drugging for the ride? Not sure what that is. Tommy said hi and left. Yep, that's how he does us. See no evil. Or Steven. He comes in and says hi, and then he takes off. So maybe we'll get ALV. He's not coming in. You can't bother ALV on Sundays, I think. Either it's Tommy or ALV says they can't be bothered on Sundays for religious beliefs. So I think he's really Irish. Does the Irish goodbyes, right? He must have been losing his mind having to stay overnight in a different city. Yeah, it looked pretty cool though. I didn't see any vendors. But it looked pretty cool. There must be like food around there. All right, let's see here. Does he have any more videos? Hold on, everyone. My Spanglish, my English and my Spanish. Hold on, everyone. Hold on. I think that's it. Cape May Congress Hall, 34 seconds. Yep, that was his main video. So is he still on vacation or is he back? We'll put Tommy on the pay no mind list until he shows back up. Let's see here. What else do we got? Not a whole lot going on in the news. It's all Candace Owens today, so that's what it's going to be. So if you're not into the Erica Kirk, Candace Owens war, you're probably not going to like this. What do we got here? What the fuck? Wow, that's why I bookmark videos. U.S. prosecutors have released new security camera footage capturing the fatal shooting of the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside a Midtown Hotel, December 4th, 2024. Days later, coward Luigi Maggioni was arrested in Pennsylvania and faces first-degree murder charges. So, yikes. There it was. That kind of caught me off guard. Didn't see that one earlier. All right. Cape May is truly amazing place. It's old money demographic. Got that old money, got that deep state vibe probably. Got those Freemasons and got the secret society vibes to me at that place. You know what I mean? You don't know who's who there probably. You could probably get disappeared in one of those hotel rooms real quick if you act up. There's Tommy. He is there. I like it all, Osada, but I remove the content and look at the beautiful ladies. I remove the context and look at the beautiful ladies. Oh, are you talking about Candace and Erica? You just put it on mute and just look at it from a strictly physical standpoint, visual standpoint. Okay, I can see that. It's beautiful here. It's a different world. Nice. Yeah, it looks really cool. Cape May. I don't know if you heard my little chat GPT about the Great Fire of 1878, but it was that fire that led to it being a brick, more of a brick place than wood frame. Brick and fire resistant materials they used, and it sparked the boom of Victorian architecture Cape May is famous for today. Very interesting. Looks expensive too. Looks very expensive. So let's hear it, Osada. Are you ready to go? You're ready to get into it with Candace and them? Well, I mean, I'll just give you my opinion on it, you know? And it's not like I haven't been, studying conspiracy theories my entire life, basically. I think Candace is this, or Erica Kirk is just a stone cold liar. I don't know what to think. I'm here and I didn't even know that. Yeah, I just seen the sign that said that the Great Fire of 1878. So it just sparked my interest because I thought the Great Fire of 1878 was Chicago. But no, that was like 1871. No, it started in a laundry room and it spread really quick and it gobbled up like 30 hotels and all kinds of stuff. And it led to them deciding to rebuild it with brick. I'm at Congress Hall and didn't know the history of it. Yeah, I just seen the sign, so I just looked it up real quick. So are the hotel rooms in Congress Hall? Is that where you stay at? I'll ask ChatGPT. At Congress Hall in Cape May, is that where people stay? Is that the hotel? Or what is Congress Hall exactly? What it actually is. Yes, Congress Hall is a hotel. And it's not just a hotel, but one of the oldest continuously operating hotels in the United States. A full-service luxury seaside hotel located right on the beach in Cape May. Originally opened in 1816, rebuilt multiple times after fires, including after the Great Fire of 1878. Restaurants and bars, ballrooms and event spaces, weddings, conferences, holiday events. Hosted U.S. Presidents Grant, Harrison, Franklin Pierce. Why is it who is Franklin Pierce? Anyway, served as a summer White House in the 19th century. People sometimes confuse it as a government building because of the name Congress Hall. The architecture is grand and historic. It's cool because it's you're staying in a historic landmark on the same site where people vacationed 200 years ago. With modern amenities layered onto historic structure. Yeah, it sounds like a really cool place, actually. They hold a fishing tournament for a weekend, and it's $100K to join in, and a $2 to $3 million largest white marlin. Damn, man! Have you heard about those cheating scandals in the bass fishing tournaments and stuff like that, with the weights and putting in like pieces of fish into the fish, and just I would not be spending that type of dough to gamble on a fishing tournament because. No offense, but some of those fishermen are the lowest class human beings. I'm sorry. You go fishing here and your car get broken into. You park your car on the river. And you know who's going to break into it? The fishermen. Lots of U.S. history in Cape May. That's crazy. Yeah, it's very interesting. My friends are mates, and one year the owner had one, and he gave a Rolex President watches as a thank you. Damn. Yeah, that's high stakes fishing right there. I mean, Cape May was where the wealthy families that I grew up with went. My friend, wait a minute. I knew Tommy wasn't telling us the truth about his finances. Who vacations in Cape May? You got to, that's going to probably have to cost like $50,000 for that trip he's on. Cape May was where the wealthy families that I grew up with met. My friends and I went to Seaside Heights, where Jersey Shore was filmed. Oh, nice. I saw you at a Sinatra place. Question marks. Not the guys. The boats are 75 foot, $4 to $5 million. Damn. I went marlin fishing one time. Well, it was sail fishing, where they extend a kite out, and then you drop the line. It's like some type of a rig that they do, and then you drop the line drops from the kite down to the water, and the fish is still alive, flapping on top of the water. That's how we fished. And then we had down riggers. We didn't catch any. I think they got one sailfish on the line. And it broke off, but we caught some African pompano. It's off the coast of Florida, Miami. Sweet tea. I don't know what happened to James. Only me and you. Wildwood is 5 minutes away. Seaside was cheap and sleazy, perfect for high school kids with no money. Okay. I have been everywhere from Newark to Philly for a minute and Cape May. I was looking at the map on because playing my Geo Champ game, and I never really realized how big New York is and its position. It's pretty interesting. And then knowing you guys and the connection to Philly and stuff like that in New Jersey, I just kind of look at the map and I wonder where New Jersey, Philly, or New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York intersect. Is that like a mob hub? Like, what area is that? I don't know why it just kind of stood out to me. Does anybody know? Like, is there like a certain area that's famous where like Pennsylvania and New York and New Jersey all kind of intersect? Is it like a bridge, or? I'm just curious. Because that would be like just like a common sense would tell you that would be like a meeting place for, the guys from New York, Jersey, and Philly to all get together. Like I don't know. I could be completely off. I'm just curious. Tommy's a millionaire. Yeah, I kind of figured, Stephen, we knew that. Remember when he said that it was the quote unquote neighbor's house that got $500,000 and the orange Lamborghini taken? Remember how worked up he was about that? And that's what I thought to myself too. I was like, it's strange that he's so worked up about the neighbor's money. So now we know. They didn't get all of it. 500,000 wasn't all of it. Osada, I found a map page on Instagram called Terrible Maps. I'll send you a screenshot later. Okay. Yeah, sounds interesting. I would say yes, there's a very big mob presence. Okay. Can be a great conversation. Yeah, I would love to have that conversation sometime on the panel. Not today. I know you're busy, you're on vacation, but when you have time, I'm sure there's probably some cool stories. The New Jersey Shore has been doing a lot of good. I finally got more ginger honey yesterday when I was at that event, because the guy that put it on is the guy that sells it. So I bought 3 big jars of it. I'm not playing around now. I'm saying that because I can hear my voice. The New Jersey Shore has been doing a lot of good reinvesting in the whole South Coast. They're good to go now. Yeah, we don't have anything like that over here. That's, we're newer communities over here, I guess. But still, we don't have that kind of stuff. They even cheat at fishing tournaments. They do, Steven. There's a huge thing where that guy, I think his name was Jason too, where he won the tournament, and then people wanted to beat his ass. And I don't know if he went to jail. I think he might have. But it put a big, and everybody knows that that's been going on for a long time. 500,000. Yeah, that was probably moved to, that the decimal place was probably in the wrong spot, by about 5 or 6 zeros. Wherever they met on The Sopranos is the central meeting place. See, I never watched The Sopranos. I watched a couple episodes. It just, I'm not a TV person, so, I did date a Italian lady for a while, and she was into The Sopranos. It was already over by then, or I don't know, maybe they're on the last season. So I did watch. That's when I watched it. Was with her. Stuffing bunker in the fish and ice. Yeah, they were putting weights. This guy was putting weights in the fish, and he was also putting pieces of filleted fish, shoving it down the fish's mouth. Is what they found in there. It's on video. You can see it on YouTube. It's crazy. New Jersey and New York have always been mobbed up, and Philly. Yes. Yeah, no, I think that's think that's common knowledge, and I don't know why. It just stood out to me the other day, and I think it was yesterday actually. I was like, huh, that's just kind of an interesting area on the map. I wonder what kind of things what kind of conversations have went down in, little diners in that area. You know what I mean? Probably all, like that's got to be like, if you have people from the different families talking or different states and stuff like that, I'm sure those those probably some big time meetings. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just guessing. Like I said, it just stood out to me, that area. All right. So Tommy hijacked the whole first 40 minutes of the show. Yep, we knew it. But no, Cape May looks like a really cool place. It does. Yeah, we'll get into the X-Files now. I kind of want to go make another cup of coffee real quick, but I'll wait till I have a 2-minute video that I can play. I'm going to say it, guys. People think that I'm joking. I'm not. The evidence is never going to come out. Who knows what's going to happen? The whole world, the whole government, everybody that has power is complicit in this execution of Charlie Kirk. But I'm going to go ahead and just say that he was electrocuted. That's what I'm going with. He was electrocuted by the microphone. And I already talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I don't want to talk about it ad nauseum and go in and try to be a detective. There's other videos out there. If you really want to know what I'm talking about, you got to go see Baron Coleman, his video. He's the one doing all the work. Him, and then from him, you can get to the lady Allie, who also, I don't know, I can't remember her name. But that's what I'm going with. And the reason I'm bringing that up right now is because everybody in this picture knows what happened to Charlie. His so-called honeypot wife with the Jewish button on her shirt claims to be Christian, but and this is where they're telling you and lying to you at the same time what happened. He was holding that microphone, and the second that he put two hands on the microphone, boom, it hit him. He was his feet were on top of two water bottles. The way they had him hoisted up on the metal, it was an electrocution chair. It was an electric chair. They had it set up. I'm just telling you my own opinion. And so this book, Stop, I think something like Stop in the Hand of God, or in the Name of God. They show Charlie Kirk's hand. They're telling you what happened to him right there in the book. This is how these people do it. They have to tell on themselves for fear of karmic retribution. They always tell on themselves. That's why in The Simpsons always, amazingly predicts all this stuff, right? They're not predicting anything. They're just telling on themselves because they orchestrate everything. So, just my opinion, but I'm not joking around when I say that that's truly what I believe. That they're telling you right there, they're all holding this up, and they're telling you that you too can be killed in public if you ever sign up for the Jewish Zionist movement and then you speak out against it. That's exactly what's going to happen to you. And they're telling you that. Laura Trump, Erica Kirk, and whoever those three media Mossad people are. CIA, Mossad, whoever they are. This is what our country is all about. The stone cold killers. But we'll move on. So we go from Cape May to Osada's conspiracy theory about electrocution, where 99.9% of the world believes that he was shot. The bottom line is the man was electrocuted. That's what I'm going with. See no evil. Osada, let's go with Charlie and Erica. Okay, we're going. Don Miku, good morning from Australia. How are you, sir? So that's what I'm saying, guys. I mean, and I don't want to try to unravel the whole thing about him being electrocuted. You got to watch the Baron Coleman video. I'm not the guy. I don't have the time or the bandwidth to do it. But I'm just telling you, based on what I've watched and what I've seen and what I never believed in the fucking first place, the 30-06 and all the bullshit lies, that's what I'm going with. So everybody can do their own research. I'm really sick and tired of all of this garbage, but unfortunately, it's not going away. And it's the biggest story to ever that in modern history. This is bigger than OJ by tenfold. By 1 million, because of how impactful it is, you know. And the stories just keep getting weirder and weirder and weirder. We're finding out now that possibly Erica Kirk was married before. They deny it. And then she's on video saying that the reason why there's no record of her being pregnant is because I think I bookmarked it. I'm growing a human in my body. I want that to be to myself. And I didn't want to share with nobody or whatever the fuck she said. Man, the bitch is weird. She is just nothing but a liar. It makes sense after yesterday, electrocution. Yeah. Yeah. And, this is the government. We'll just call it the government. You know, we're talking about the people that run the world, whatever you want to call them, the elite, the Illuminati, the puppet masters, secret society, the cabal, the kibosh, whatever you want to call them, the military, academic, industrial complex. Their number one tactic and this is what like Operation Mockingbird was all about. Operation Paperclip. They are the best at psychology. We will never win when it comes to psychology, when it comes to gaslighting, when it comes to being able to steer the narrative in our direction because we can control the media. That's what they do. That's what they have at their disposal, and they always will. So you have to know that going into it. So if you believe something in your heart and in your gut and with your own knowledge, because you're an individual thinking human being with human intelligence, not artificial intelligence, you got to stick to your guns because they're going to gaslight you and they're going to make you think you're crazy. I mean, that's just a fact. They do it every time. So when it comes to something like this is just my advice. Don't try to convince anybody. Okay. Don't try to convince your family or your friends or whatever, because it's just going to lead you down a road of misery and broken relationships. That's how these things work. It's not worth, ruining, your day or a relationship over something like this. However, over time, you realize who that you need to listen to and who you don't need to listen to when it comes to things like this. You know what I mean? Once you realize, one of the lenses comes off and you realize how bad you're being lied to, then it's easy to, this is why I don't watch TV and commercials and stuff like that. I checked out years ago. I don't want it in my brain. I just don't. I refuse to even let it in. I mean, it's impossible to not let everything in. Because, there's commercials on YouTube even, but nothing is worse than network television. It is the bottom of the barrel. It is absolute garbage that they put out there. Donna, good morning. But yeah, so again, I've been criticized my whole life, talking about things like, my stepdad was Japanese, right? He was born in a Japanese internment camp, passed away 20 years ago. But I've always, my last name is Japanese. Osada is Japanese. I speak a little bit of Japanese. I can write Japanese. And I know a lot of the history about the internment camps and what happened here, at least locally, when it comes to the Japanese Americans. And I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, World War II. And Alex Jones has talked about this for years. World War II, the reason why Japan bombed Pearl Harbor is because we set up blockades to starve them out, and we knew they were coming. And they could have stopped it, but they didn't. Not only did they not stop it, they did everything they could to make it happen. That's what they wanted. That was that's what they needed to bring us into war. And then there's the Gulf of Tonkin for Vietnam. Same thing. And then you can read about Operation Northwoods. I don't know if you guys know about that, but I will pull this one up. So the definition of a conspiracy theorist are people that question the statements of known liars. That's what I'm going with. These people always lie. Operation Northwoods. Now, Operation Northwoods was a plan. It was basically 9/11 before 9/11 happened. Guaranteed Tommy's gone now. Tommy, once we stopped talking about Cape May and went to Erica Kirk, he said, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm on fucking vacation. I'm not listening to these fucks talk about fucking electric. Once he heard the word electrocution, he's like, these fucking mamalukes, I'm out of here. Operation Northwoods was a real declassified U.S. military proposal from the Cold War, but it was never carried out. What it was, 1962, the U.S. Department of Defense Joint Chiefs of Staff. This was Robert Kennedy. Okay. Right after the Cuban Revolution and Bay of Pigs failure, the goal, create a justification for U.S. military action against Cuba. And what it proposed, Northwoods outlined a series of false flag operations that would be blamed on Cuba, including staging attacks on U.S. military bases, sabotaging ships and aircraft, and blaming Cuban forces. And keep that one in mind when they're talking about Venezuela. Faker staged terrorist incidents in U.S. cities. National Guardsmen just killed in Washington, D.C., creating incidents that would look like Cuba attacked civilians. The intent was to manipulate public opinion and intentional support for war. The plan was presented to President John F. Kennedy. Kennedy rejected it outright. The proposal was never implemented. The chairman of Joint Chiefs who supported it, General Lyman Leminster, was later removed from his position. So if people don't think that there's false flags and that they don't, I mean, there's too many to name. Operation Paperclip, where they kidnapped the German scientists and engineers and others, doctors. So yeah, they do exist. And I'm all over the place, guys. So we're going to move on to the next one. This guy, I don't know who he is, but I think I like what he had to say, so we're just going to go with it and play it real quick. It says, Andy Frisella explains why the elites won't assassinate Candace Owens, despite an alleged plan by Emmanuel Macron. And you remember, Candace came out and said that Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron had a plan and had already paid for her assassination, and the French Legion 13th Brigade was involved, and it was Operation Valhalla. The U.S. military had a joint operation with the French Legionnaires, I think in August.
Everybody knows when they're being lied to. Everybody knows when they're being sold. Like when you walk into a store and the motherfucker's like all over you and wanting you to buy a bunch of shit, everybody can feel it. It's a fucking feeling that everybody feels. So like, you know, like in sales training, one of the things I do in sales training, right, is I say, how many of you guys know you're being sold? Raise your hand. And they fucking all raise their hand. I said, so What makes you think that you're going to fucking sell people bullshit and get away with it? You're going to be the first one.
That's right. That's
Everybody
right.
fucking knows.
2025.
Correct.
Yeah, right, right.
Like, so, you know, and that's where we start the process of selling with the proper intent. But yeah, man, people can fucking feel it. And that's what it is. So, you know, they're not going to be able to, sweep this one under the rug. Cause I could promise you, dude, Candace ain't going to stop.
She ain't
And
stopping,
people,
bro.
even if she did stop, let's say they did something to her and removed her from the fucking chessboard.
Oh, wow.
That would make it 1,000 times worse, because then it would be obvious. You know, everybody's saying, oh, you know, they're going to do this to Candace or do that to Candace. If I was them, I wouldn't, because it would open up a can of fucking worms that they couldn't put back in. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, they're kind of riding that line. All it's going to take is for them one overstep like that, and they're going to have a revolution on their hands.
Well, that's wishful thinking, and I like where he's going with that, but I don't agree with everything he says. I think that Candace Owens is the most important human being to walk planet Earth this century, and I truly mean that. I mean, what she's doing, and no one else can do this. If she's gone, ain't none of us can be able to do this. I would like to. Who is going to take over and drop the receipts and come with the facts like her? Nobody was Charlie Kirk's best friend but her. We need Candace Owens. Without her, this whole thing falls apart and they win. They're going to win anyway. But at least we're getting the satisfaction of exposing their lies until they start the war and start the next pandemic or whatever they're going to do to us and get us so sick and fucking scared that we forget about it. At least now, for temporarily, we know that they're full of shit. And that's good enough for me. So by him saying that if they take Candace out, it's going to start a revolution, I kind of reject that notion. I wish that were true, but nobody has time in the day for a revolution. Nobody has the disposable income to set aside, child support or daycare payments for, a revolutionary fund. Doesn't that require like weaponry and uniform and, who's funding this revolution? Amway? Bullshit sells and truth doesn't. That's it, Don. But here's the thing. That's not true. It is true. It's true in the context that they only feed us bullshit. But if you look at the truth, Candace is the truth. And Candace is the #1 podcast in the world. If you go look at her view count, she's averaging I think 2.2 million views per podcast. And that's just YouTube. So she is, and that's because she is speaking the truth. You know what I mean? And she was speaking the truth before Charlie Kirk got assassinated. And it could have been one of the reasons why Charlie Kirk got assassinated. It's not the only reason. It was a perfect storm. It takes a lot for someone to get your neck blown apart or the illusion that you're a neck goblin. Because the thing is if we're going to go with the electrocution and you talk to the neuro guys and all this, there's a term. What is the term when you're electrocuted and something explodes in your neck? This is how my brain thinks, guys. I'm sorry. Carotid artery rupture, often called a carotid blowout. Carotid artery rupture. A catastrophic tear of the carotid artery in the neck causes sudden massive bleeding, often described by witnesses as something in the neck bursting or exploding. How electrons fit in. Electrocution does not literally cause an explosion, but it can cause violent muscle contraction. We've seen that. Create thermal burn damage to blood vessels. We've seen that. Trigger sudden spikes in blood pressure, weaken vessel walls leading to rupture. If a major neck vessel fails suddenly, the effect can look and sound explosive. And so there's other terms too, depending on the exact industry. They might injury. They might use the term vascular rupture, cervical arterial rupture, carotid artery dissection, electrothermal vascular injury, or traumatic neck vascular injury. So there you have it. Electrocution technically means death caused by electric shock. Bottom line, it says the medical accurate phrasing is most often carotid artery rupture. So it is 100% possible that they zapped him so hard that that's what happened. But even if he were shot, wouldn't he have heard the recoil or the echo on the video that we all saw? Yes. And he would have been decapitated and blown backwards. He wasn't blown backwards. He just jolted upwards. And then they took him down. They already had it planned to make it look like a bullet. That's why they immediately ran to him and threw him off the chair, if you watch the video. So they could make it look like, and then they went down there. And they did some weird fucking shit to him while they were down there. They did some Michael Jackson shit to him. Remember when Michael Jackson had the burn from the Pepsi commercial? If you guys ever went down that conspiracy theory rabbit hole about what they did to Michael Jackson while they were fucking down there putting that fire out. Osada, they blew his neck off. No, they didn't blow his neck off. There was only a little tiny hole in his neck spewing out blood. Now, if they would have hit him with the 30-06 that they said they would have, see no evil, then his neck would have been blown off. So I'm not sure if that's the argument you're trying to make, but you just have to watch simple ballistic videos. There's all kinds of gun experts out there, military Green Berets and so on and so forth and what have yous. The facts are out there. It's undisputable. It is 100% indisputable when it comes to the gun that's a lie. So there's nothing that anybody could say to convince me otherwise. We've already been down that one way too many times with experts. Okay, that's concrete, print ready, courtroom ready. There's no conversation there. Don't I have 5 kids, 4 24 years old and 1 26? Oh, Don, I have 5 kids. Dang. 5 kids, see no evil? Right on. The carotid artery is in the neck. Okay. Stony Tony, good morning. How you doing? As Tommy would say, Stony motherfucking Tony. So, and you guys know, I never want anybody to agree with me. That's not the point of this. The only point is my opinion. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to shift public opinion. If all 8 of us are considered the public, it's just, I'm just giving you my take on it, and my take is my take. Am I always right? I don't know. I'm going to say yes. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say yes. Like 99% of the time, yes. When it comes to this stuff, yes. Because I'm not going to speak on it until I know. So, and the other thing is when these people are trying to sell you on stuff like it's their job, you already know they're getting paid. So, find people that aren't getting paid to tell you the truth on the internet. It's kind of hard, $2 for my first satanic wife and triplets with number 2. Well, that's how it goes. See no evil. I was the opposite. Still friends with my original ex, even though she's been remarried for 20 years. She's the reason I even started the chocolate business. It's the second one that was Satan. Never married though. Just baby mamas over here. Never been married. No divorces, no marriages, no splitting up stuff. I mean, they still get everything anyways when they leave, but no offense, ladies. It is what it is. No complaints here. I've been single since 2014. So what is that now? 12 years almost? 11. Yeah, over 11 years. 11 years and 2 or 3 months, something like that. And, I've dated girls throughout those years, but not even one have I dated where it was like even considered like halfway of a serious relationship. So it just is what it is. And I think a lot of people are like that these days anyways. I'm not unique in that sense. A lot of, what do they call them? Incels or whatever they are. Me personally, it's my only thing. I just concentrate on my business. That's the only thing, other than my kids and my granddaughter. It's just my business. The only thing I really care about is building my business. And then, of course, being lied to our faces by the government, that pisses me off too, which is why I do this show. I love doing what I want when I want. Yes, me too. 100%. Now, I don't have the money to do what I want, but, like everything that I'd want. But I do actually have the money to do exactly what I want to do right. Well, other than maybe the food truck, the food trailer that I want to get, as far as like keeping my business going, that's the only thing that I want to do. I'm making enough money to, like if I want to invest in another little piece of equipment or whatever, things are going good, as far as that goes. Because I look at a lot of people that do what I do, like try to be vendors and stuff like that. They struggle so hard, some of them. I don't try to go out there and make a bunch of money. I just try to go out there and make enough money that I would like if I was working, and seems to be doing pretty well so far. Although I would like to start making a little bit more money. I do want to get a food trailer because being outside sucks. I'm over it. Going on 5 years now of setting up a tent. I went through like 5 or 6 tents. I'm ready to just start towing a little food trailer around. I think it'd be so much easier. And it's all our college graduates, 1 master's degree, and everyone has a career. Oh, nice. Oh, you're talking about your kids. Nice. Steven Seagal, I think, instead of getting married again, I am going to find a woman I don't like and give her a house. Yeah, that's hilarious, Sweet Tea. All right, let's see. What else do we got here? Now, Megyn Kelly. I like Megyn Kelly, but I call balls and strikes. And if you're going to lie and you're going to be a crazy bitch, that's just what it's going to happen. That's just what you are. And then we have to wonder, because you went and you platformed Erica Kirk and you guys went on the little media, you had the little media thing. You played the fireworks for her and all the bullshit. We're over it. And now nobody believes that a 30-06 does that to a human being. We know that's a fucking lie. So why do these people keep saying the evidence overwhelmingly shows that Tyler Robinson or whatever the fuck his name did it? I don't get it. The only saving grace here, Megan, is the fact that I'm trying to read between the lines and hear you say that you want anybody else responsible for this punished. But I don't like what she says here at all.
Did this. It seems very clear to me. My only hope is that I can be there in the room when they flip the switch and take his life. I want him dead. I want the death penalty handed down against him and anyone who helped him. And I will be gleeful on the day it is carried out. I honestly don't know how that squares with my Catholic faith, to be honest. We're not real pro the state killing people or humans taking other humans' lives, whether it's in the womb or in the course of a crime. But we are pro justice. And the Bible does say an eye for an eye. And there is no deterrence. I'm sorry, the deterrence, I do believe, requires the death penalty in the most heinous of cases. And I do believe it should be reserved for the most heinous of cases. And this is that. This is that. Charlie was shot down in the prime of his life. He had so much yet to offer. He was a loving father of two. He and Erica adored one another, lived for one another.
Now, you can go back and just watch a lot of my videos. Like I talk about the death penalty a lot, and I talk about the death penalty when it comes to pedophiles all the time. I constantly talk about that. That I think that if, you're convicted of doing something to a kid, that you should get the death penalty and that it should be carried out that afternoon. Just take them out back and kill them. It's just that simple. No taxpayer money needed. That's a real deterrent. That's exactly what that should happen. And I do not say that lightly. And I don't understand. I just feel like they take these talking points that we try to say and they twist them into something like this. We want to give the death penalty to Tyler Robinson when he hasn't even been there hasn't even been a fucking trial yet. And we're going to go with the 30-06 and he needs the death penalty. What? I have no clue what we just listened to there. This is why I don't listen to these type of people. You very, very rarely will you see me play a Megyn Kelly video. She's not somebody that's on my radar. She used to be. I used to think that she was an independent journalist. She's not. She's bought and paid for. She's pro-Israel. She's very, very sneaky. Like they try to paint Candace in a picture of where she frames this whole thing in a certain context to get her way. And, Candace is very smart. I will give them that. But Candace is after the truth. Megyn Kelly is not after the truth. Megyn Kelly is being paid and has corporate sponsors and wants to stay on the corporate algorithm and doesn't want to end up dead like Charlie Kirk. That's why she's saying what she's saying. And she's not saying that because she believes it. That's a fact. So, and this is why I know Candace is the most important person of the 21st century, because without her, this whole thing sinks and Megyn Kelly wins. And they go with Megyn Kelly. They'll put Megyn Kelly up there as the next person to try to find answers. And we're toast. And it's game over. Or even Alex Jones. Alex Jones has been compromised too. Alex Jones is a sellout. You got to. Alex Jones is such a disappointment. I don't know what happened to him. Like, it's because he got sued one too many times over Sandy Hook, or he never goes to Washington, D.C., but he went for some secret meeting to Washington, D.C. right after Charlie Kirk was killed. And ever since then, I started seeing it coming, and now it's like, it's completely obvious he's compromised too. This is the world we live in. Here we have Mike Huckabee in Israel talking to Israeli chefs about how great they are.
Do I look like a guy that has turned down stuff? No.
This is on our taxpayer money.
What inspired you to say, I want to be a chef?
I never grew up in the kitchen. I was a barista. I was making coffee. There was a guy missing in the kitchen. So the chef said, come in. I need a hand. Take a bowl. Put lettuce, sauce, mix it. Put it in the plate. Ring the bell. That's it. I'm looking in the kitchen. I'm like, what? And I'm like, what? This is the best job ever. Like, I just made someone smile.
You made somebody smile.
In 30 seconds. This is what I want to do with my life. And I'm like, what?
Look at that guy's tattoos.
This is the best job ever. Like, I just made.
He's got them on both hands. He's definitely part of the Jewish cabal. I mean, he's in Israel, so. But this is on our taxpayer dime. So these people are genociding the Palestinians, controlling America, killing American citizens, publicly executing them, gaslighting us for trying to find the truth. And then they're going to take our taxpayer money and take it over there to those people that are doing it and fine dine and schmooze with them. I mean, this is what's happening to us right now. This is the truth. This is what's happening. This is who we pay our. This is where our money is going. It's fucking pathetic. Tyler is still locked up. Yeah, he is locked up. They just had a court appearance with him a couple days ago. But yeah, he's locked up. So, you know, when we watched
I love you.
So when we seen Erica Kirk on these fake mannequin hands that are supposed to be her husband, you know, and so here's why they did this, because they tried to figure out why. This is so weird, right?
I love you. I love you.
And so the reason why not only did they film it this way and why they mic'd her up is because for the electrocution, if it ever came up like it did, they could go back and say, no, he was not electrocuted. Look at his hands. They're clearly right here, right? And it's definitely Erica Kirk because you can hear her voice. So she is over her husband and his hands, and they're not electrocuted. These are not fucking human hands, guys. Anyway, she is obviously a Freemason, the G ring, right? That's the G. The G in the compass is, maybe one of you guys are a Freemason. There's lots of Freemasons out there. You know, there's a Masonic temple in every city in the country. Not a big deal, but it depends what faction. And, you know, so this guy kind of explains a little bit about what the G represents, because I think there's a little confusion.
Every symbol has more than one meaning. Sometimes the meaning is obvious, but often a symbol gets picked up by a certain group and they give it a special hidden meaning. But it only has meaning to them.
This is an 11-minute video. We're not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to play like 2 minutes until he gets to the point.
Not to everyone else. Take the letter G in the center of the Masonic square and compasses. What does it stand for? It depends on who you are. Some say it simply means God, or maybe short for Grand Architect of the Universe, the GAO2U. Some say Gnosis, Greek for knowledge. And I'm not saying that any of these interpretations is wrong. Another group has a special meaning for the G, and it's not in Masonry. It's Jesuit. Hi, I'm David Daniels for Chick Publications. Jesuit is spelled with a J, right? But the home base of the Jesuits is the Church of the Gesù, G-E-S-U, with a G. Gesù, by the way, is Jesus in Italian. Let me read to you from Rulers of Evil by author F. Tupper Saucy. Hold Freemasonry up to the light, and you cannot help but see the Black Papacy's watermark. Isn't it reasonable, given the circumstances, that the G in the center of the familiar Masonic emblem represents the initial of Gesù, the residence of the Black Popes, at the Jesuits' world headquarters in Rome? Freemasons wouldn't suspect this, nor would Jesuits. It would be information reserved uniquely to the unknown superior, who shares what he knows with no one. Quote, your enemies will serve you without their wishes, said Sun Tzu, or even their knowledge, end quote. There is so much more than that he says, but I'll stop there. But is his contention even possible? A 1997 article from the Esoteric Gnosis magazine tells how an influential Italian Freemason, Arturo Regini, 1878 to 1946, wrote in 1906, criticizing the Masonic leaders Giuseppe Mazzini and Albert Pike for failing to create, quote, a secret right above all others, a sort of Mason.
All right, I'm just going to stop it there. Sweetie, there's no proof in what we've just seen or heard. Even if we are, it is Erica, no way to prove that was Charlie's hands. 100%. How can we prove that's Erica's Kirk's just by the way? We can't, Joe. That's true too. And 100%. Well, the whole thing is staged, right? So it more, whether it's Erica or not, that whole thing, it's even like it doesn't even really kind of change it because of how fake it is, right? The whole point was to lead us to believe that those were Charlie's hands, and then we all know that's just really, 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 really not appropriate to do that, regardless of whose hands they are. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not something that you do. You're not gonna sell T-shirts and a book and like monetize the death of your husband, basically. And what they've done, what Turning Point USA, Toilet Paper USA has done is they've hijacked Charlie Kirk's identity. And they, it's one thing to hijack the identity and keep it going because he died. But what they've done is they took him out and purposely took him out because he was going away from the official narrative. He was calling them out on their bullshit. And I think this is why I think got him killed, is because he there was corruption inside, it's always about the money, right? There was corruption inside Turning Point USA, and he wanted an audit. He wanted a Doge style audit done because it wasn't even so much about where the money was going. It was about where it was coming from. There was like this whole thing of money laundering moving through Turning Point USA, and he caught on to it. And this is what I always think about. And let me see if I can find the video.
Think I'm at the top of the list for a lot of homicidal maniacs.
And the more the mainstream media talks about you in this way,
yes,
and says you're a Nazi, and
that's not the one. Hold on. Elon. Because what it was Elon was on Joe Rogan, and this is when he was with Doge, and he says if he keeps uncovering the corruption stuff, they will kill him. Elon says if he uncovers corruption, they will kill him.
From whatever the 10% of Republicans who were receiving the money, and they would, they would very loudly complain, because the honest answer is the Republicans are partly, they're receiving some of the fraud too. They're getting a big. Jesus.
So he's calling out the Republicans there.
Trading. Like the insider trading stuff, like the stock portfolio stuff is quite trackable, but it's a lot more than insider trading.
The way they're acquiring wealth.
Correct.
And what other methods?
I mean, this is really going to get me assassinated. It's like I'm not lengthening my lifespan by explaining this stuff. to say the least.
This is before Charlie Kirk was killed.
I mean, I was supposed to go back to DC. How am I going to survive? This is going to kill me for sure. In fact, I do think like it's like I actually have to be careful that I don't push too hard on the corruption stuff because it's going to get me killed. Yeah, it's like I was actually thinking about that on the plane flight over here. It's like if I push too hard on the corruption stuff, people get desperate.
So, and then what happened? Remember, there was a falling out between Trump and Elon, right? And Trump, as he does, he fucking starts talking shit. And if you remember, Elon had a black eye. Elon had a black eye right when that happened, when they had a falling out. He says that his son, little X or whoever, punched him and he gave him the black eye. Well, you go back and you watch that video, something is not right there with Elon, So that was before Charlie Kirk was killed, and Elon was not playing around. Elon will tell you, now there's a video with him that just came out where he says that, he can't go anywhere anymore. And he goes, you can't make one mistake when you're him. He goes, one mistake, you're dead. You have to be perfect every time. That's how bad it is. So it's haunting stuff, man. That's chilling to think about because, and I remember watching that the day that came out. When Elon, I don't watch Joe Rogan that much anymore, but when Elon's on, I'll watch. And so I remember watching that the day that it dropped. And I knew he wasn't joking then. And then after the smoke cleared from Charlie's electrocution, and then that dawned on me that Elon said that, it's just like, Jesus, man. This is real shit. This is what happens. Yeah, no, we don't need nothing to happen to Elon. Sorry, Donna, I didn't realize what you were saying. Yeah, it was very distasteful. I missed who you said wanted the audit. So it was Charlie Kirk wanted an audit, a Doge-style audit done of TPUSA. Because he found out that there was a huge amount of money coming in and out of Turning Point that he wasn't aware of. These guys had already came in and infiltrated his business. So he wanted to know what was going on, and then they just whacked him. So, but it was, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. I think it has to do with Israel too, but I'm not going to play that video. Here's Erica Kirk. Let's listen to her. We don't even have to just say anything. Let's just listen.
Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it. We've been to Israel twice together. And to be able to walk in the place where our Lord walked and see the Bible come to life in Technicolor. How could you hate that place? How could you hate the Jewish people? Why? Because you need to fulfill a conspiracy theory? I'm wrapped in, people say I'm a part of conspiracy theories all the time. It's sick, and it needs to stop. We are human. No one is perfect. No Christian is perfect. No Jew is perfect. No Muslim is perfect. We are broken, sinful humans in need of a Lord and Savior. And that's why it is so important to give your life to the Lord. Because once you do that and you fully surrender to the Lord, you have no room in your heart for hate. And so, sir, I am so sorry what happened to your daughter. I pray that does not happen, and I pray that that is something that we can somehow extinguish in this world. But we are living in enemy-occupied territory, and every single day we need to guard ourselves, guard our minds, guard our heart, and the best way to do that is reading God's word. And you cannot separate the Old Testament from the New Testament. You cannot.
Yeah. And who is she mad at anyway? Because it wasn't it like a, Tyler Robinson, and he was, I guess he was. They painted him as a leftist, right? I mean, that is just so weird. Here's a few words from Charlie himself.
I'm going to continue to ask the question. A 20-hour response in a country the size of New Jersey. That begs a big explanation. And more importantly, America is significantly underwriting the Israeli government $4 billion a year. We as American taxpayers deserve answers to this. We deserve answers. Also, if we're going to get into a regional or world war based on an intel failure, we pay for this. What are we buying, right? I got smeared as a Jew hater, an anti-Semite, and conspiracy theorist because I said exactly what I just said. And I refuse to back down despite all the smears thrown at me, because I learned during COVID. I learned when they told us that it came from a bat in the Himalayas. I learned when they told us the vaccine was safe and effective. I learned when they told us that ivermectin was horse paste, that you better keep asking questions because it's the only thing that keeps us free. Thank you so much. I'm going to.
So you have Charlie's words there, and then you listen to the words of his wife and these other people, and you can tell who's who. Like I said, they hijacked his identity, and they're trying to change it. And I truly believe that they, and other people have said this too, that, and I talked about this the other day, that they had went back and edited the videos with metadata or however they do it. Like the video of the assassination of him. I mean, like we could talk an entire show about just the video, about how you can't find one high quality video of him being shot. It's all, not that we would want to see it, but you listen to the video experts talk. When you zoom in, you can't see strands of hair. And it's because what's happened is every video that has been put out there has been resized, different frame rate, and it's been all the way altered. None of it is the original video. And how they were able to do that, who fucking knows? But he was, you listen to him here, smeared, labeled as a Jew hater and a conspiracy theorist. And then you listen to his wife, and she's attacking the people that are attacking questions and are being labeled as, she's labeling us as conspiracy theorists. So it's easy to see what's happening there. Tim Dillon.
Here's what I will say about this thing, which I don't know much about. They're now unearthing weird things about the finances of TPUSA. Charlie Kirk, who I believe was someone who they could not compromise because he was not a drug addict or secretly gay, didn't have a gambling problem or whatever, which, by the way, a lot of people in politics do. They can be compromised because they're living some type of double life. And I don't believe that was the case with him. I believe there were people around him that was the case. And those people were probably either compromised to a degree. And again, none of this suggests that they killed him. But there's a weird picture emerging with that organization where there are people that Charlie had ordered an internal audit of TPUSA going, hey, where's a lot of this money coming from? Where's it going? Like, what's happening? And I think what started to happen was, I'm just going off of nothing here. And I want to preface what I say So when it's reported by like MSNBC or something to fill their airwaves, I want to preface, and I'm just kind of going over that. I think it is very possible that Charlie Kirk, if it wasn't the lover of the furry, Tyler Robinson, right? Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
If it wasn't him, I think it's very possible that Charlie Kirk discovered something before he died, and not a lot of people knew about it. And it was something damning, and it was something that threatened the existence not only of that organization, but of the kind of political infrastructure that supported that organization, meaning some of the very big donors, perhaps, or maybe something in the administration or some weird connection. I don't know. But it is possible when I read his texts from a few days before that event, and he's talking about they're going to kill me. And now obviously texts are weird because you don't have context, right? But when he's talking about they're going to kill me, they're attacking me, he sounded like a guy who was trying to say something. And if you read between the lines, that interview he did with Megyn Kelly, where he was going, I'm being accused of this. They're saying I'm being attacked. I felt like there was something he wasn't saying. Again, this is all literally based. This is off a hunch. This is just a thought experiment. It's an.
Yep, it has to be off a hunch because Charlie's dead. So, we have to go off of just receipts and hunches. We can't go from what he says anymore. Yeah, what he's saying is quite feasible, 100%. Some of these comedians are, they've got some knowledge. Some of them aren't even comedians. They probably do work for the government. Now, this is a really interesting video because this is at the White House when they had like a little service or memorial for Charlie Kirk. And look at the grief on his parents. Okay. And then you have Erica Kirk dressed like Princess Leia. You can barely see her. And I think it's her mother next to her, wiping their fake tears because this is early in the game when they haven't been exposed for anything. So they're on top of the world. And why are they wearing white and not black? Watch Charlie's dad let out a sigh when he holds his wife. That's real grief, man. Yeah. Let's see here. More Erica Kirk.
Professional widow. You don't understand how strenuous the tour schedule is. And I need everyone to know how sad I am. I'm so sad all the time. I miss the little things. So many things about Charlie were little that I miss. But the thing I miss the most of all is when you come home on a Friday night, Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Daddy's home, and he put his phone and his keys in the junk drawer, and it would just be all us. It'd just be all us. I just want to encourage people. Don't argue with your spouses. Don't let men get away with anything except the absolute bare minimum of them. I always told him, you know, I will always have a place for you at home. There's always going to be dinner for you on the table. And if it's cold, I'll reheat it. Don't even worry about it, baby. I am such a good wife. And I'm so sad, but I make a great wife.
Pretty much sums it up. Yeah, you could tell his parents were not doing good there. You know, and they haven't said anything about it either. I can only imagine what they're going through, you know. You know, when if that really, you know, happened in, you know, to one of our kids, like, man, could you imagine, like, what are you going to do when you know the government is involved? What is there to do? Nothing. Sit there and take it. I mean, it's insanity to think about. This is Erica Kirk's explanation of the Egyptian planes.
I'm pregnant and I have 9 months to own it. You really think I'm going to be on an Egyptian plane while I am wanting to be with my In-N-Out burger and my chocolate milkshake? I'm nervous that there could be, they'll say we can't find a fair jury. Like they're going to taint the jury pool. And in that case, that's how widespread you think these conspiracies have gone. Yes, that's how mainstream they become. Okay, Egyptian planes. You want to have that Egyptian planes? Okay. I was pregnant for 90% of those trips. Mind you, I've never, all those places they said I'd travel, I've never been. I mean, I've been, but I'm not within those states that they've. But you even said you need to. No, but this is, yeah, but I do.
Did you guys catch that lie already? 90% of the places they said I've been, I've never been. Well, I've been, but not on the dates they said I've been.
Those places they said I'd travel, I've never been. I mean, I've been, but I'm not within those states that they've. But you even said you need to. No, but this is, yeah, but I do on that one only because from a humor standpoint, I intentionally, when I was pregnant, hid. Not because I was embarrassed, not because I didn't want anyone. Yes, we did keep it very private, but it's because it was a moment very sacred. I was growing a human inside of me, my baby. The world that Charlie and I live in is very toxic at times. Yeah. And when you are growing a beautiful child in you, I don't want to be around it. I want to enjoy eating my In-N-Out burger and my hot fudge sundae. That's what I want to do. I'm pregnant and I have 9 months to own it. You really think I'm going to be on an Egyptian plane while I'm wanting to be with my In-N-Out burger and my chocolate milkshake? No, I'm not. So if you want to go through my flight log, go right ahead. It's very boring. You say I was here on this date. I have a photo in my phone to prove that I actually was in the hospital because I was having contractions. So game on.
Oh, yes. Let's cheer for that. That was a rock solid alibi right there. There's no way I could be on Egyptian planes when I'm pregnant. Nobody even said she was on the Egyptian planes anyways. If you watch Candace and she's got the tail numbers of both planes, they followed her. First, they were under the assumption that these planes were following Charlie around the country, but they followed Erica like 78 times, more like 93 times. They can prove that the plane was in the same place that she was at, like 93 different times. Nobody ever said one time that she was on the plane. It said people are following her and tracking her. So she's working with, a group, more than likely. She doesn't have to be on the plane. Maybe she is on the plane. You can go down that whole thing. I mean, Candace has hours and hours and hours on the Egyptian planes. And there's other people involved in that too. I mean, Ian Carroll, those guys created an app just to track that shit. I mean, they're not playing around. So that was just a very weird conversation right there. I think I have a few more of them. Now, this is in New York City. YRC attendee Kevin Smith confronts Groyper generals women propaganda in Berlin before they retreat to Nick Fuentes and Sneeko. So I don't know exactly what happened here. It just looks like some dude was talking shit and he found out.
You invited him to your fucking club. You gave him a ticket to the fucking club. Whoa! Okay, let's get the fuck out of here. Walk away. You're real tough. Walk the fuck out. He's putting the IR though. And then this other guy just slapped me across. You gave him a ticket to the club. You gave him a ticket to the fucking club. You gave him a ticket to the club. You gave club. You gave him a ticket. You gave him a ticket. You gave him a ticket. You gave him a ticket.
That's what you get, my guy. Shouldn't have been talking shit. Have you seen the news just recently about what happened at Bondi Beach in Australia? Yeah. That has false flag written all over it, Joe. And I'm not going to say that it is, but just from what I watched and then reading a few of the comments, looks like a staged event. But yeah, crazy. I think like 10 people were shot and killed. There's a video, I don't know if I bookmarked it, of a guy that basically disarms the gunman. So it's wild, yeah. And then in Syria, there was like U.S. military people killed over there. Shizen said she's angry, and she's angry at the wrong people. It doesn't make sense. Not a good look. This is in New York, yeah, New York City. I think New York City. I'm not sure what YRC attendee is. I think that might be like Republican committee attendee. I don't know what Y stands for. Here's some more of Erica Kirk's bad acting. And by the way, these people that are asking questions, handpicked by the Jewish Zionist Barry Weiss, who runs CBS.
To decry them, but any good faith effort to stop political violence must hold both parties to the same standard and expectation. So in that spirit, will you condemn the violent rhetoric of Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth?
I appreciate your question. You know my heart. Why would I ever say, yes, go murder people? This is so much deeper than just one. I understand your sentiment. I do. But this is also so much deeper than just one person. This starts at the home, okay? This starts with family. This starts with a seed that grows and grows. You can choose to have evil in your heart, or you can choose to have light. What you consume and what you absorb from the outside world will manifest itself. No, I will never agree with political violence. My husband is a victim of it. I'm a victim of it. But what I'm trying to say here is that we can blame everyone else. We have to look in the mirror. When you become a father, when you become a mother, how are you raising your kids? Are you taking responsibility, or are you giving them a device and saying, go down that rabbit hole? I'm trying to go to Pilates class. You can just sit in the corner and look at your iPad or look at your phone and go down that rabbit hole and see what you can learn from that instead of being a parent. So my call to action from that is, parents, step up. Do you want your kid to be a thought leader or an assassin? That's where we're at.
Do you think our political leaders have a responsibility to turn the temperature down right now?
Well, I think everyone has a responsibility to do that, and I'm doing my part. I'm not in control of other people.
Okay. Ahead, a father whose daughter was murdered in cold blood because of who she was. He's here. Also, political violence, and the conspiracy theories surrounding Charlie Kirk's assassination. Stay with us.
I was muted. That's Barry Weiss right there. She's the lady that runs CBS. She looks like a teenager, but she's the one. She's got a lot of power. And look at how horrible she is at doing her job. What is she even saying? You know, she can't even. Oh my God, man. We need to stop this from happening, guys. It is just too much to bear. I got to listen to Barry Weiss one more time.
Right now. Well, I think everyone has a responsibility to do that, and I'm doing my part. I'm not in control of other people.
Okay. Ahead, a father whose daughter was murdered in cold blood because of who she was. He's here. Also, political violence and the conspiracy theories surrounding Charlie Kirk's assassination. Stay with us.
And the father that they bring up was that other guy we seen earlier. And I guess the daughter was killed because she was Jewish. Must have been why. This guy. Did we watch this one already?
Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot.
We did.
He would always say it.
We already watched that one. Now, this one is kind of sad. In New York, an off-duty officer accused of shooting a driver during a road rage confrontation. And then if you listen to this guy talk.
And immediately 3 shots went off. Cut off from the cop, was tailgating him after that. The cop was brake checking him. Then the boy tried to pass him, and the cop went on the other side of the road and tried to run him off the road.
I literally screamed. Like, it was one of those moments that you don't even kind of understand.
When he got out the car, he could have left. He could have pulled off. The same way I watched him swerve lane to lane and him get out the way or him avoid the boy from passing him. You know, I feel like the whole thing could have been avoided. On both parties, I feel like they were wrong. Seeing the boy.
Man, it's so unnecessary. And when you're a cop, no excuse for it. But you can't get out swinging either. Well, guys, I mean, those are all the videos. Has anyone figured out that she keeps touching her left eye while she's fake crying? Yeah, that's true. You know, and it's funny because when she was on that CBS meeting, she's actually crying, and at one point it looks like she sucks the tears or the fucking snot coming out of her nose into her mouth. Like, you can literally see her do that on camera. So when she's really crying, she lets the tears run down so you can see that she does have real emotion. And the reason she's crying is weird. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a weird reason. And then all the times that she's patting her eyes, there's not one tear. So, and there was a body language expert that I listened to the psychologist talk about it, and they said that the tissue is to avoid eye contact. It's all about, because you're lying to people when you have to lie to somebody, like on a huge stage like this. So she's got to avoid eye contact a lot of times when there's a certain part of the conversation for the lie is coming up, right? And then she always has a smile at a weird time. And that's because you get a sense of, you get a rush of euphoria in you when you realize that you fooled the person that you're trying to lie to, or the audience or whoever. And then there's these looks of self-disgust where you are disgusted at yourself because you don't think that you're pulling it off like you should be. And so it is that cycle of emotion that plays out inside of you as you're lying on that type of a stage. And you can see it once you identify that. You can see it in her, the weird smile, the weird timing and stuff. And, the looking down and the looking up at God. She's always looking up at God. That's another part of the avoiding the eye contact. So she's well trained. She's an actress. She's well trained. But I think we are going to leave it on Alex Jones. I think I'm going to play his he finally snapped last night about the Candace Owens, Erica Kirk. He's been trying not to do it. And let me see if I can find something here.
On this Candace Owens TPUSA thing.
Oh, did I pause it? Let me start over.
I feel robbed that I've had to spend so much time on this Candace Owens TPUSA thing. And it's pissed me off, actually. Because, I got serious stuff to deal with, just like you do. And I'm not saying it's bad to question. It's just when it's all anybody wants to talk about, I got fans come up to me every day, at the gas station, the grocery store, everywhere. And they're on either side of it. And I'm just like, it's a black hole. And I'm not mad at people who want to cover it. I'm just telling you that the stuff TPUSA is doing is exactly what I'd do if I wanted to destroy myself. God, it's just like the White House. Come on. I like Erica.
You have to realize, if you don't know Alex Jones, he is the top of the pyramid. He is the grand master wizard. There's nobody that plays chess and psychology when it comes to this stuff better than he does. He is literally 10 steps ahead of everybody right now. Okay. So when you listen to him talk and you think that he might not be on a certain side, he's just setting them up. He's just setting them up to knock them down. This is how Alex operates. So you just have to listen to his words.
Kirk. People haven't seen say she's a great lady. She's a theater kid. That's why she's in all this. A nice lady overall. The constantly, every time she's on shows months later with the touching the thing, crying and all that, we just, come on. It comes off as like third grade acting, okay? I'm not saying you're not sad your husband's dead. It's terrible. I'm not. I'm just saying little things like that are big. And then you've got Candace Owens looking so excited and happy when she's talking about all this with that look on her face and like just destroying TPUSA when it's so important to winning and just the innuendo and all of it and just the constant stuff. And I'm watching all that. And then how dare them raise money? It's like, what? Boy, I got to tell you, I have not commented on the TPUSA Candace Owens multi-month long soap opera that has been sucking all the oxygen out of the room and become the only major issue anybody's talking about, literally. And obviously, I'm not just...
Wait, what are we saying? Has anyone figured out that... Oh, wait. No, just... Two gunmen attacked a Jewish event. Currently 12 dead. One shooter is dead. And other if true capture. Was this just recently? Is this what we're talking about that was in? I'll show you the video that I have on it. Hold on, we'll take a side tour here. Bondi Beach, Hanukkah shooting kills 10 in terror attack on Jewish community. 2 men with shotguns opened fire around 6:45 p.m. at the Kabod Chanukah by the Sea event, killing 10, including one attacker and
Oh!
C'est un malade.
Oh non, gros! Oh!
Ouais, mais il y a son pote, il va se faire tirer dessus. Il est trop con, le mec qui a l'arme.
That's what I was confused on, because you hear those 3 gunshots right there. Who's firing and why is nobody falling? That's what I was confused at. Because in the beginning,
Oh!
C'est un malade.
Oh non, gros! Oh!
Ouais, mais il y a son pote, il va se faire tirer dessus. Il est trop con, le mec qui a l'arme.
so it's not him firing then. It's not that guy firing. I mean, doesn't this have to be a false flag event, though? I mean, and see, this is what I'm saying, because it is, they always, I think I just said this yesterday. You have to be careful of the Jewish holidays, because it's when they have the terrorist attacks. It's always on Hanukkah or Ramadan or whenever they have, whatever those holidays are, is when this fucking shit happens. So it'll be a reason to take away Australian gun rights or whatever the case may be. Let's go back to Alex.
And I'm not saying it's bad to question. It's just when it's all anybody wants to talk about. But I have all these other serious issues I'm looking at and dealing with here. And so I haven't had time to really go investigate it, all the angles of it, and look at it. And it's gotten so bad. About 2 weeks ago, I started doing about 3 hours of research a day, just because I need to know what I should do about this, because it's become such a distraction. And I'm not trying to blame TPUSA. I'm not trying to blame Candace. I'm not trying to pick a side here. And it's not that I ride fences. I haven't figured out exactly what's going on yet, but I've hit a tipping point with the information, and in the next few days, I'm going to go ahead and cover it. But it gives me a headache to have to go into all this stuff. But I'm just going to say this. What we're being told has gotten so elaborate and so ridiculous, and so many of the sources that, this person says this with no proof of who they are, no proof. They're in Arizona the day before, and they're special ops, but in another group, and they go into a room, and there's 12 colonels or 15 colonels, and they're all planning to, take out Charlie Kirk. I mean, just come on.
He's talking about Candace right there. And so there is a little, there's a little truth to that maybe a story that she told there, that the guy that her source was maybe fibbing a little bit. Hey, it happens. You can't, when you're trying to discover the truth, you're going to make mistakes along the way. You're going to get some numbers and dates wrong. You're going to mispronounce some things. You're going to get a few things wrong. You steer and correct.
And all these anonymous people popping up with their voices changed.
But this is how I say that Alex is the Grand Master, and how he sets people up. And, like TPUSA is toast, man. When Alex says he's going to take on this in a couple days, he's going to light that business. He's going to burn them down.
Blurred, and then everybody runs with that, and then later it's not true, and just building and 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 building, and all these groups involved and all these things involved, and just all of it. And then statements like, how dare Erica Kirk raise $40 million supposedly in a fundraiser? We need giant war chest. TPUSA flooded the zone, got millions of voters registered, took us over the top. The Democrats completely hated it. And again, I'm not attacking Candace, because I've got big problems with TPUSA. And that.
And he does have big problems with TPUSA. But I want to play something else that reminds me of something too, real quick. Speaking of.
State Capitol, where we're announcing a very special and exciting partnership between Turning Point USA and the state of Tennessee. We have seen two other states do this, Florida and Texas, both bastions of freedom. Tennessee is now following suit. With this partnership, we are going to see every high school in the state of Tennessee have a Club America chapter. Okay, we just got to the state capitol where
So the company that is complicit and basically they electrocuted Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk was calling them out and wanting them to be audited for money laundering and whatever the fuck else they were doing with that money, where it was coming from, where it was going. He questioned it. They killed him. That business is now in every school going to be in every school in Tennessee. And apparently Florida and Texas already have that. They're going to have these turning point chapters. And this is like part of their end game. And if you go down the rabbit hole of what Turning Point USA is, it's basically Palantir. Okay. And Palantir is data collection. And if you don't know anything about that, I mean, I'll just play this. I don't know if I'm able to find it or not, but. But it's when Erica and Mikey, who is, let me find him. This guy.
Being at the office, being together, talking about the show, running the organization, doing the things that we used to do with Charlie is the only thing really bringing us the most comfort right now.
So that kid's 24 years old, and he's the one that he's like one of the CEOs of Turning Point. His dad lied and said that he was covered in blood. It's that guy. He walks away from the shooting right after it happens. All kinds of weird stuff. Well, him and Erica are on that show talking about how their geofencing tracked over 200,000 attendees to the Turning Point event. And then you find out that what they've done, because Turning Point's huge in Arizona, that's where the studio's at, that they targeted Christians Christian churches. If you went to a Christian church in like Scottsdale, Arizona, you were flooded with Jewish Zionist propaganda, Israeli propaganda. So anyway,
feel robbed that I've had to spend so.
Hold on.
Becomes such a distraction, and I'm not trying to blame TPUSA. I'm not trying to blame Candace. I'm not trying to pick a side here. It's not that I ride fences. I haven't figured out exactly what's going on yet, but I've hit a tipping point with the information, and in the next few days, I'm going to go ahead and cover it. But it gives me a headache to have to go into all this stuff. But I'm just going to say this.
I'm going to go a little bit more forward.
We're supposedly in a fundraiser. We need giant war chest. TPUSA flooded the zone, got millions of voters registered, took us over the top. The Democrats completely hated it. And then I'm not attacking Candace because I've got big problems with TPUSA. And that's why I haven't got to it yet. So I've got to sit there with all the information I have and just write up a list of the TPUSA stuff I've got issues with and concerns, and then all the things that have been put out. And then you just, I'm just asking questions, move the next thing in a soap opera way. And it's fine to ask questions. It just becomes something that has to be analyzed and looked at. And so that's why I haven't covered it yet, because I like to actually know what's going on. It's like when I got out of gold and silver for 14 years at the very top of the market. 13, 14 years ago, I went on there and I said, I'm getting rid of, he's the top realtor in Austin. And he said, just as a favor, I just really appreciate you on the show. I know what you're going through. This house is $3 million. He goes, I would imagine in about 2 years, you'll be top of the market. You know, he was like, I make 4 or 5 times the money with these people that rip you off. Because people don't understand gold and silver.
I'm not going to sit here and listen to him talk about gold and silver, but so he's going to do a deep dive on it. I mean, we've got to take it with a grain of salt. You can't take Alex Jones' word as gold anymore, but he'll definitely have some interesting things to say for sure. And he has information that we don't. So 10K plate, right? And you know, like the whole thing about them being in the schools, I wouldn't want my kid to be around Turning Point, you know, because it's a Jewish movement. You know, I don't want my kid to grow up to be around people that or to feel emotionally blackmailed, because that's what Charlie Kirk was saying that was happening to him, that he was being emotionally blackmailed by these people for not thinking a certain way. You know, he was on Megyn Kelly talking about that. Now they want to put this in the school. It's like the same people that artificially created this thing about, you know, turning your kids trans and all that kind of stuff. And they want to create the illusion that it's these leftists. It's the left. It's not the left or the right. This is what the people, these Jewish Zionists, these people from Israel, whoever the fuck they are, the elites, this is what they did. They created this chaos amongst the youth in America with wanting them to turn into cats and change their gender. And now the solution, because it's problem, reaction, solution. They created the problem. We had the reaction. And now the solution is going to be what's not a Christian thing, but it's a religious, political organization that they're going to put in all the schools now. And because it's the solution to the trans movement, because remember, it was a trans lover that killed Charlie Kirk, that poked a hole in his neck with a 30-06. And Charlie stopped the bullet because he ate very healthy. He ate spinach and whatever the fuck they were saying, right? It's a complete fucking scam. So why do we want the people that orchestrated 9/11 and killed Charlie Kirk to be in our schools? I ask you that. Why? Why would we want that in our schools? So I'm with Candace when she's always saying, take your kids out of public school system. Fuck. I mean, to each their own. I'm not going to say do that, but I'm just going to say that my granddaughter ain't going to public school. And she may not be going to private school. It really kind of just depends. You know, it's a really fucked up, especially here. I mean, I don't know how bad it is in the state you guys live in, but Washington State, I think, is the worst state when it comes to pedophilia and transgenderism and all that. I mean, it's bad here, really bad. In fact, I think it's Tumwater or Olympia school district that's probably the worst in the nation for that. Yes, Donna, that's what it is. That's what this is, what people don't realize. And, you know, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but they believe that we owe them a moral obligation. Okay. Christians have a moral obligation to the Jewish people. Osada, do you think the Jews are behind Antifa? 100% they are, Joe. They're behind Antifa, BLM, all of these things are behind 100. They're the ones that, you know, if they're not behind it, they're going to put a stop to it. They're going to put a kibosh on it immediately. You know, they are the Mossad, they are the CIA, they are the FBI, they are all of that. They are all of that. 100. But yeah, let's listen to Mike Huckabee, who is a U.S. Congressman, talk about the moral obligation we have.
What an honor to be here.
This is in Israel. U.S. Congressman Mike Huckabee.
For this incredible ceremony. Mr. Prime Minister, Secretary Rubio, all of the...
Marco Rubio, okay, is right there, right next to Benjamin Netanyahu. This is our Secretary of State with that mass murderer right there.
Wonderful people who made this possible by their generosity, contributing to something that is historic and something that is a living memorial of what God has done. It was 4,000 years ago here in this city on Mount Moriah where
all right, Joe,
God chose his people.
Have a great one.
He not only chose a people, but he chose a place. And then he chose for the people in this place a purpose. The people were the Jewish people. The place was Israel. And the purpose was to be a light to the world and to show that we don't have to look for God because he is looking for us. And that is what so separates the long history of why this city is so important. Those of us who are not Jewish, we thank you for giving all of us a foundation of morality and decency and civilization upon which our own faith is built, for without yours, we don't have one. As I often tell my Jewish friends, you can be Jewish, you don't need me. But I cannot be who I am in my faith without the debt of obligation that I owe to you for having listened to God and been willing to be obedient to him when he called you to this place as his people for his eternal, everlasting purpose. And I salute you and join you tonight in the celebration of this wonderful, magnificent, incredible reminder that God never has been finished with Israel, and he never will be. This is the eternal home that he has chosen. God bless you all.
I mean, wow. Wow. Yeah, exactly, Donna. You know, and if you listen to any of the paid, because there's a lot of people that are paid to support this stuff, Patrick Bet-David, Tim Pool, they're really good at what they do, so it's hard to tell. But the amateurs, man, they're so easy to spot because they're too expressive. They use their hands and they really, their eyes get big, and it's so easy to tell the people that are paid and trained to talk Israeli propaganda. But you know what he's saying there, it's like he's in Israel just literally just sucking cock. He might as well just fucking get down on his knees and fucking, you know, give Benjamin Netanyahu a fucking blowjob. It's just disgusting. So, and you know, I think the bottom line there is what he's saying is that Americans are, you know, the reason why American politicians have no problem letting Israel control us is because we as Christians, because we're a Christian nation, have that debt and obligation to those holy chosen people of Israel. Because if it was they don't need us, but we need them, because without their faith, our faith could not exist. We could not exist without them. And so with that, I am going to, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to make a paper mache, whatever you call those little ramekin hats things. I'm going to make one of those and I'll wear it around for about an hour. I don't know if that's how how do we pay our debt? Don't you guys already have all the money? The Jewish people, don't you guys already own everything? Don't you guys own the banks and the movies and the media and everything? Don't you guys literally own everything? You own all the politicians too. So what debt do we have to pay? I guess that's our taxes. I don't know. Very strange. But yeah, no, I think it was a good show today. Thank you for hanging out, everyone. Yes. Bye, everyone. Have a good day. Yes. I second that. I think Tommy's on. He's probably clickbaiting us again, though, because I know he's at Cape May. So it's probably another premiere. Maybe he's live. I don't know. We'll find out. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.